Good morning. It's a chilly morning here in Florida. It's about 45 degrees, so a little unusual. So I'm all bundled up taking the dogs for a walk. Today, we're going to talk about why I picked a truck camper to live and travel in full time, specifically over a van. So let me take these guys for a walk and we'll get into it. I'm not a big fan of campgrounds, but I'm currently in Florida, close to my parents who need my help right now. So on the East Coast, campgrounds are necessary. It's warm in here. I love the heat in here. Mwah. It's so nice and cozy. Chai latte. Yummy. So my first rig was a van. It was a Ram ProMaster 3500 DIY van that was bought as a cargo van and converted. And I also have experience traveling in a Class B in Europe. So I'm comparing my truck camper to that experience with those two vans. So the first big perk of the truck camper that I love is you can detach it from the truck. Usually when I'm camping at a campground, I do detach it and just use my truck to drive around. And I've had situations where I got stuck with the truck, and while the truck was being repaired, I still had my home. I still had all of my things. I didn't have to surrender my home. And I've also had situations where the camper was being worked on, but I still had a vehicle to drive around in. So that was a big perk with a van. If you need maintenance on the van or in the camper itself, you need to surrender your home and vehicle. Also, I like the fact that if I want a new truck, I can get a new truck and I still have my home, or if I wanted to upgrade the camper and keep the truck, same thing, right? When I take it off, I don't have to break camp. Like if I'm going out to dinner or to the grocery store, I can just take it off, and if I'm going to be somewhere for a while, and take my truck. Where the van, you have to break camp. You have to take your van if that's the only vehicle you have. Some people get around this. They might have like a little scooter or a motorcycle or e-bikes, which is possible, but I would have to take the whole van if I needed to go into town to get something. It's a lot easier to boondock in this truck camper than it was in my van, just because it holds a lot more water. This truck camper holds, I think 40 gallons of fresh water, and the tanks are bigger also. It's a 38-gallon gray water tank and a 15-gallon black water tank. I can be in here for up to 2 weeks at a time. Being conservative with my water, but I have done it for 2 weeks at a time. In the van, I had a very simple 7-gallon tank that I would refill. The truck camper to me feels more like a home. Yeah, another thing about the van is I felt like I was living in a vehicle. Um, yeah, I'm living in a camper now, but this feels like a little tiny home to me when I come back here and I close the door. Where in the van, when I was in the van, it didn't really feel, I guess it can feel like a cozy home, but to me, it felt like I'm living in a vehicle. Another big perk of the truck camper is the truck has higher clearance than my van did. So I've gotten into the backwoods. I've gotten into dispersed camping and in national parks that I would not have been able to get into with my van. So I love that. So by far, what I found is the truck camper is easier for temperature controlled. I mean, it's designed to be lived in, where the cargo van is a cargo van. It's designed to transport cargo. If I'm shopping and I have the dogs, I mean, it can be 80 degrees and I will open these windows and have the fans going, and it is comfortable in here, where the van, there's no way I could have left them in the van. It's kind of like leaving them inside a vehicle when it's 80 degrees out. I did have heat in the van, but it was a gasoline heater underneath the seat, which worked well, but it was just loud and it would go on and off, and there was a lot more fluctuation in the temperature. Where about this system, the Aldi system, it's quiet and it's piped in around the bed, around the floor, in the bathroom. Like, I never really feel any cold spots and I never hear it going on and off. It's just comfortable. I've been in this thing with the heat on and it snowed and it was below freezing outside and I had no clue, because I'm just comfy in here, and I open the door and there's ice down the front stairs. In the truck camper, the storage is so much more organized. I know where everything is. Everything has its place. Where in the van, I had a lot of stuff stored under the bed, and it was frustrating because sometimes I would be digging in bins. Now, granted, you can design your van where you do have efficient storage. I'm just comparing it to my DIY van. Also, driving, it's more comfortable to me to drive the truck than to drive the van. Now, I didn't mind driving the van, but it's just loud because, things are shifting around. You can hear everything inside of the camper. Like, you're sitting upright because it's a cargo van. And I mean, at the time, I didn't really notice it. I didn't really mind it. But when I drove in the truck with the truck camper, I realized, wow, like the seats are a lot more comfortable. It's quiet. It's a lot quieter. There's not stuff flying open and shifting around. And that would drive me crazy. The van was going to be expensive. It was going to be expensive to do the build out. I still had a loan on him. We paid $40,000 for him new. And then the van builder I went to was going to be another 50 grand minimum. And that was without a full-size bathroom, without an air conditioner. So right there, 90 plus grand out the door on this van. And the truck camper was ready to go. It had everything I wanted in it, and I didn't have to do anything to it. And it was less expensive. I bought the truck camper new for $37,000, and then the truck came in under 30. So that's about 67,000, where the van for for a DIY van was going to be minimum 90,000 and probably around 100. When I make these videos, I have to have bones around me because the dogs start whining and I have to re-record. So smart bones. Works every time. My van did not have a bathroom, and vans that I looked at that did have a bathroom, it takes up a big chunk of real estate inside your van. So to me, vans with bathrooms just seemed very cramped. As a bathroom setup, I had a lug of Baloo. So it was like a little weird. If you're in there going to the bathroom and you're sitting right next to where you cook, where you prepare food, like right in the middle of your van, like this has its own bathroom, its own shower, hot water, which it just makes it a lot more comfortable for full-time travel for me. So inside the truck camper, I feel like it's pretty compact. I have no slides in here, but I feel like I have a lot of space, more space than I did in the van. The van is a contained area. These truck campers are designed to travel in, to be comfortable in. So it just feels wider. In the truck camper, my bed is so much more comfortable than my bed was in the van. The van, we slept side to side. It was a full-size bed, and I never really felt very comfortable in that bed. I always felt like I was going to roll out or my dogs were going to fall off. I'm a little claustrophobic, so I'm only 5'2". But sleeping side to side, I felt like I didn't have a lot of room. This bed is like almost a full-size queen bed. And the front to back situation here, like, just makes it feel so much more spacious and so much more comfortable. And I've slept in this with guests, like with a friend and with my daughter. And it's very comfortable sleeping in. Where the van bed, I felt cramped. I felt claustrophobic. A big plus of the truck camper and also with the van is its size, because it's still compact. It's still pretty nimble. I can get into a regular parking spot with this. To be fair, I'm going to go through some things that I miss about my van and things that are a con of the truck camper. First thing I miss about the van is the gas mileage, because this truck gets, maybe if I'm lucky, 11 miles to the gallon when the camper is on it. Where the van, it was a lot more efficient. I was getting at least 18 miles to the gallon with the van. I miss the sliding door in the van sometimes. There is nothing like it. If you're hanging out in your van with the door open, the back open, it's like bringing nature inside. And one thing I miss about the van was the swivel seats. That just opened up your living area, and it gave you like a comfy kind of recliner-like seat to hang out in. And with the truck camper, I have these bench seats, which aren't very comfortable. So if I want to get comfortable, I have to prop up some pillows and sit on the bed. One thing I do miss about the van is the simpler systems, that there was a lot less to go wrong, a lot less to break. Plus for the van is it was easier to drive. I'll give it that. It has that huge window in the front where you feel like you could see everything. The truck, it took a little bit of time for me to get used to, having the truck camper in the back and the weight of it and it shifting. I made some modifications to the truck that made it so much more comfortable and so much easier to drive, but it's not like driving the van. I mean, that Ram ProMaster 3500 felt like a minivan to me. So for full-time living, this thing rocks. I feel like it's a better fit for me over a van. Right now, I'm loving this setup and I'm sticking with it. And who knows, in the future, I might change, but this is what I like right now.